Welcome back, hard forkers, and apologies to the decent crowd that were waiting for the live show today. We've had another technical failure on my...
Hang on a sec, Sean. Hang on a sec.
Well, not we. I have. We are going to go live on Wednesday, and we'll attempt to sort of bring you some shorter live shows moving forward.
We're going to attempt to do like a 15 to 20 minute show, maybe 2 to 3 times a week. So maybe, a Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yep.
And that's if Sean can ever work out the lives.
I will.
And that way you've got the most up-to-date stuff with what's happening with the market.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously there is just some amazing price action at the moment. And well done, Lisa. You've actually been calling this very accurately for quite a while now. Thought some of those big calls, when I compare it to, obviously I look very closely at what the other technical analysts are saying on a very regular basis. So I think you're top of the game. It's a pleasure to be making content with you. So let's see if you can get it right this week. Oh, by the way, well done on Elrond last week. What was it, like an 80%?
I know. Well done on Elrond for all that took that trade. So I'll quickly share my screen and we shall have a look at what Elrond. Oh, that's not Elrond. Here we go. So we've been talking about this a lot on hard forking. So over since it was Elrond and now it's eGold. So and quite a while back. So this is like November, 17th of November. So I've been trading Elrond since about March. So 17th of November, I told everyone that I was buying. It looked like it was starting to curl up. So on that trade, we've done 282%. Woo! And Sean didn't take it.
Oh,
again.
I'm currently in a short on Bitcoin and Ethereum on my Prime XBT account at the moment.
I hope that short is just a scalp, Sean.
It's a scalp short, but yeah, I'm not an Elrond. Well done to everyone that scalped. Is. So I guess, yeah, I mean, I want to get to BTC and Ethereum quickly, but yeah, tell us what's happening next with Elrond then. Well, sorry, not Elrond, eGold now.
We're in this bull flag here that we're forming. So we will get a little bit more sideways in Elrond. We need, the RSI says we've got one more wave coming down here, which means we'll get another wave coming down here. So for anyone that's wanting to get into Elrond, I think around the $23, $24 mark is a good entry in here. I don't think it's absolutely going to dump. Well, that depends on what BTC does, but like Elrond, when BTC has dumped, has been really strong. So we've got this diagonal support here, and we had a quite a large drop in BTC and eGold. Sorry, I should say, not Elrond anymore. eGold held, and it was really strong, and it's continued to move up. So we've got this deep cup forming. At some stage, we'll get a handle. I still believe we're going up a little bit more. So before we do get that handle, and then, obviously that handle will come down, we'll be in the fourth wave at that point. But I think we've got like another wave up before we come down. So we should be, let me do some squiggles here, get some squiggles here up to here. And then we should start to come down and get the handle. So the handle will come down to around this support region. So longer term, we're sort of looking at about sort of 1950-ish on a retrace. So possible we can get up to about 38 on this next run. So lots of FOMO in this coin. So 35 to 38 within this region, I'll be laddering out of the trade and rebuying back lower, because I think that's kind of how it's going to go.
Okay, well, this is the first time we haven't opened the show with a BTC chart, but there's plenty of action in BTC, Lisa.
There's plenty of action.
I can't call it right now. I really can't. I'm dying to hear what you've got to say.
So this is obviously my very, very busy Bitmas chart. So on BTC. So we're on the 9th day of Bitmas, and so far so good. We are following, kind of a really good story here. We're in this rising wedge. Now, how I see this, we're in a small retrace. We could come down, retest this wedge again before continuing up. So potentially we could be, Sean's scalp could be a really good trade here at the moment. So on Prime XBT. So we could see 23,500-ish in this range and then continue up. And we should get about just under 25K at this point. If there's a big tether print, there's a pattern that goes to 28,000 in this range. So at this point, once we start pushing up again, I'm going to be just the way I trade in those regions. I'm going to just push my stop up. And, as we go and break through, if we do, then 28,000 is the next range. So we are going to get a sell-off at some point during this month, obviously due to taxation in the USA. There's always that need to sort of pull some money out to pay the taxes. So, that's going to happen after Christmas. I don't think it's going to happen before Christmas. I think we're going to go sort of in this wedge over the next few days, and then we'll get the Christmas run. Whether that goes to, breaks through this 25K region or not, we're yet to see. But I will be trading it, as I said, pushing up.
Geez, so you don't think the whales have got a rug pull ready for everyone? I mean, a lot of these big players have made some big money lately.
Well, there's been some big money, and there's been some big sell-offs with some of this, crypto here, like Bitcoin. So we had 650 BTCs dumped onto the market at this point. So we've hit this resistance up at 24,400-ish. And then, we had a rug pull, which took us down to the wedge. So, it's very sort of planned out in these regions. Like there's enough tether and enough buyback in these regions that, they're holding this support. So, and it's not breaking. Yep. So, we've got that's a 23 90, and then we've continued up. So, if we have a look at this pattern, we hit the top, we go a little bit sideways, we hit the top, we're a little bit sideways, we've hit the top, we're going to go a little bit sideways here, and then we're going to attempt the top again. So on a fourth attempt, we usually break through. Yep. So this is what this is, fourth test of resistance. So we had 4 tests of resistance here, and we continued higher. So the fourth test is the critical resistance. So if that doesn't break through, then it comes right down. So if we don't break through, our support in this region is about 22 to 40-ish. We could drop a little bit further down with a wick. Yep. But that's kind of what I'm seeing. We've got this expanding wedge here. And so that's kind of where it's looking. So this is a possible correction point if we can't pass that 25K mark. Yeah. So, and 25K is a psychological number, and we've got to sort of remember that these sort of, the 10,000s, the 5,000s, are the psychological numbers, as well as like the round numbers that we come across. But a lot of the round numbers, when they're sort of 22, 23, don't sort of matter so much. The 25s, the 30s, those sort of numbers that we're going to get sort of stuck on. And this, where the heart is, it's a 25K range, and, it's a fourth test of that resistance. So if we can't break through, then we're coming down.
Yeah. Look, obviously we're doing a technical analysis show here, but I just wanted to, a quick question for you. You've obviously talked about some of the KYC rules and so forth that are a sort of incoming here early next year. We've obviously had this proposal by Mnuchin that could sort of increase the compliance from US exchanges for transactions above, I think it's 3,000. They don't look as stringent as maybe many in our space were thinking. If thoughts on that news, it's just sort of come out in the last couple of days. Obviously we're seeing a lot of institutional money coming into the space at the moment, and obviously I think regulation is on the back of that. Any sort of whispers you're hearing? Any thoughts around what? Well,
I believe that KYC is a really good thing for the industry. So I'm one of the very few people that actually believe that it's a good thing. Reason being, it can control a little bit what happens with the money laundering and, dark web stuff, and, the sort of, the purchase of drugs and that sort of thing. And so there's so much tainted Bitcoin out there. There's a couple of sort of lending platforms that won't lend you like any money if they can find that your Bitcoin has been, through a Tumblr or through the dark web or whatever, which is almost it's like saying that you won't, touch an American dollar because it might have cocaine on it.
Yeah.
And like pretty much all the money there has some sort of, cocaine on it. So that's the thing with Bitcoin. Most of it's been through a Tumblr. Most of it's been sort of laundered and so, but having KYC and having that sort of legitimacy about it is actually a good thing in my opinion. I know that it's going to cause a sell-off at the end of February when it does come in, because or it's sort of mid-February as people prepare. But for me, long term, it's a really good thing.
Yeah, well, I think this new proposed law that we literally saw at the end of last week has got a 2-week comment period where people can effectively put their point of view forward. It's a hell of a lot shorter than most other legislation, and is my understanding of what's going on in the US. So I was just wondering whether you think that would spook the market. I think there's a bit of confusion around what it actually means.
Yeah, I think coming more towards that time, it'll spook the market.
Yeah.
So there's always that point in time where we get the FUD and people just panic sell anyway. So that hasn't happened quite so much in this rise. We've seen a couple of sell-offs, like we can see here. We've got quite a big sell-off. So it's 19,000 down to 16. So so that's a $3,000 sell-off. So it's quite a big sell-off in the whole range of things as we've been going. So we haven't had that a lot in this run. So majority of the times we've had sort of, small sell-offs. And reason being, I think in 2017, we had major issues with a lot of exchanges. Like Bitfinex was one that had to stop onboarding any new customers because they didn't have enough BTC, they didn't have enough Ethereum to be lending that out so people could margin trade. So if you weren't in a margin trade or you closed a margin trade, it was really hard to open a new one because they just didn't have the BTC to support it. So at the present time, and I've heard a lot of people saying that the BTC is coming into the market and it's going to dump on the market. And to a certain extent, we've had small dumps. Like we had 650 BTC released today, and that kind of dumped onto the market. But we had enough tether there to purchase like that dip. But BTC coming out of cold wallets can also be BTC coming into the exchanges for the lending.
Yep.
So because as we get more and more people into the market, the exchanges need to be able to support that lending. So, and Bitfinex, for one, doesn't want to be closing the doors again. So, companies like Prime XBT outsource their liquidity, and so they have the liquidity. But these bigger exchanges like Binance, Bitfinex, and Huobi all have a store of BTC. So when they need that lending, then they have to bring that back on out of the cold wallets into the exchange.
Yeah.
So, and that's kind of happening at the moment with a lot of these big players coming into the market. Bitfinex offer a corporate sort of side of things where you can sign up as a corporation and you can trade on there, and it's got a full set of rules, and it follows all the taxation rules, and you can print off like all of this stuff that you need to support your tax when you do it. So that's kind of what the big exchanges are doing right now. So it's a pretty exciting time, because 2017 we were seeing the closure of exchanges and people not, there were accounts, people were selling accounts on Bitfinex for $10,000, 10,000 US dollars, just so you could trade on there. So, they're not doing that at this point because, they've got enough liquidity to continue onboarding people. And that's kind of what's happening. So, it's a different market this time around, this bull run. They're more prepared. They're more, the movements are more in line with what would happen in a traditional market. We're not getting that huge volatility that we saw at the 2017 market, where we got like these massive big wipeouts. So, there is potential that we could have a rug pull, but I think with so much sort of, media attention and so much attention from governments and regulators, it's not going to happen as much anymore.
True. I still think we'll see. I still, clearly we're going to have those big corrections, but yeah, you're right. I don't think it'll be as dramatic.
We still will get a big correction. Like if I go to the BLX, we can see that we've almost completed this third wave, and then we will get a larger correction. This could complete around sort of, Christmas time and have that sell-off. Within that ABC, within that fourth wave, we get an ABC. So, there's no reason we're not coming back up, retesting, and then coming down again. So, that's potentially what we're getting in that range. So we could have, so this is say 27,000, 28,000, and then a drop down to 20,000. And then, back up and then down to retest this support here. So we've got 17,000. So, that could happen over a period of a couple of months. And there's no reason why at Christmas time. So this is, the tax sell-off. We get that last minute sort of market sort of buoyancy where we have this bounce before we get the KYC in. And that, that will bring us back up to around the 25K mark before we have that larger drop down to 17, 18. So, that's the potential of what the market's looking like over the next sort of 2 months. 2 to 3 months.
So Lisa, I'm currently in as I said, I'm currently in a short.
Yeah.
I don't plan on staying there for too long. Maybe you want to give me your thoughts on that as a very short-term play.
As a very short-term play. Yeah.
Short-term play.
So if we look to the, so this is a 15-minute chart. So if you are scalping a trade and you would look to the 15-minute chart. So at this point, I would not be in a short. So our 9 and 21 EMAs.
Hurry up and finish this video then so I can close it.
So our 9 and 21 EMAs have crossed over, and they're still, they're still flared out. So until they cross over, you shouldn't be opening a short if you're scalping. So if we go down to the 5-minute chart, which I really don't like going down to, we're sort of crossing over. So we're sort of a bit muddled here. That's kind of what happens on the 5-minute chart. It's not as clear as the 15-minute chart. And we can see it's kind of sideways. It's moving sideways. 15-minute chart, we've got a clear direction where it's starting to turn down. If we could possibly test this region here, which is 23,850-ish with a wick again, and then we should continue up. So, but 15-minute chart is still showing bullish on the EMAs, and we've retested the 100 MA, we've retested the 200 MA. It's this 200 MA was down here when we retested it, and it's moved up. If we go to the hourly chart, this 100 MA has moved down, which it should do, to give it more room to move. But this wick would have tested at this point right on this 100 MA. On the hourly chart, the EMAs are still bullish. So we do have a direction change here. So this should move up and then come down. So I would say we've got another wave up coming and then maybe one wave down. So I think your short is very short-lived.
Okay. We need to whip through the rest of the show then. Then to get into my prime account.
Going back to the 15-minute chart again. So if you're scalping again, so yeah. Where did you open this short, Sean?
I don't have that in front of me.
Yeah. So this is a BitMEX chart. Right, everyone, and we can see that
I think I went short Ethereum from memory at 656.
Ethereum. So if we have a look at Ethereum, we're in a channel. So we've got right now, we could get a ABCDE. So right now we have A, B, C. So we've got complete. We could get a D and an E. That's not out of the realm of possibilities. But you should always buy the C, go long, and then it continues up. So because it's no guarantee you're going to get the D or the E wave. Yeah, so Ethereum again is looking really strong as well. So it's got support of these EMAs. The RSI is on support on the 4 hourly, and we've seen a small bounce. The MACD is still sort of crossed down, but we are starting to tick up here. So if we go down to lower time frames, we're starting to curl up. So this is a 2 hour. The MACD has curled. Our RSI has come back onto support. And if we go to the hourly, we've just crossed over. So bullish. So I wouldn't be shorting either of those.
All right.
Yeah, so total crypto market cap has bazillions of dollars coming in. We're still a little bit short of my next target. So
I see Michael Saylor's trying to bait Elon Musk to join the party.
Yeah, so they're having a conversation as to how you can come into the market with such a huge amount of volume without moving the market in such a drastic way. So basically what Michael Saylor has done is, I said this on the last live, he's come into over, I think, 7 or 10 exchanges, and, they're buying the dips. So every time it dips, they're buying up those dips. And, so if Bitcoin is getting a little bit dippy in this region, Michael Saylor's had an order. If it's dipped here, Michael Saylor's had an order. So, and probably all of these regions along here. So he's been buying for a period of about 6 months, I think, is what he was saying. So, all of these dips have been eaten up with these large corporations coming in. And if Elon Musk decides that he's coming in, and, he's had this conversation as to how, he's coming into the market and they're buying the dips, we're not going to dip that much. And that's the whole thing. So getting to this point of 25K, we could just continue through. So if big players are coming into the market like Elon Musk, because everyone else is, and because you need to own Bitcoin because it's a scarce commodity, and it's got a finite amount, and we're running out, and mining difficulties increasing, and all of that I keep telling everyone. So supply and demand is only like supplies dwindling, demand's increasing. We're only going to keep going up. And that's why I don't see us having these major dips. Like, you know, we could have that sell-off when they need to pay their taxes, but, you know, that depends on sort of, they're not going to have to sell their whole stack to pay the taxes. They only have to sell a percentage. And if we've got new corporations coming in, then, you know, that's going to be gobbled up.
Yeah. There's a huge amount of retail FOMO. I mean, we've spoken at length many times about the fact that retail players haven't been here, or at least that's the way we're perceiving it. But I think we both know it's,
well, I think they're only
changing dramatically. I know the amount of phone calls I'm getting and everyone.
Oh, the amount of phone calls. There's people that I haven't heard from for 2 years that are now saying, what's happening with Bitcoin? I'm hearing about it on the news. And I'm like, you've had 2 years. You could have bought it at 3,000. So now you're going to buy it at 20,000 or 25,000. It's just crazy. So, yeah. But that goes into that mentality that, you know, it's now worth something. And, you know, it's like wanting to save up and buy a Gucci bag or something like that. You can buy the cheap rip-off copy in Thailand for like next to nothing, or you can buy the real thing. So if it's Bitcoin, 25,000. And yeah, which is insanely crazy.
It sort of feels like that right now, but I think in 2 years' time, I think 25,000 is going to look very cheap.
2 years' time, I think, you know, hodl on. It's like, seriously, I think we're all going to become strong hodlers, and we're just going to be like, yeah, sitting there and going, this is amazing. So Litecoin's another one that has been moving really nicely in pattern. So we've got this corrective structure. So our 1 to 2 wave in a lot of patterns was really overly extended and went for quite a while. So that means that our 3 to 4 waves in most of these patterns are going to be quicker. So rule of alternation in Elliott wave is if the first to the second wave is extended and you know, drawn out, then our 3rd to 4th wave is going to be swift and continue on. So that's kind of what we're going to start seeing. And it kind of plays into the supply and the demand of what's in the market at the moment as well. So with that FOMO kind of happening. So if you're a Litecoin lover, which I've got lots on Twitter, so you can probably pick it up for about 115, maybe if you're lucky 112, and it's going to head up 136 and then 164. So 164 is BTC hitting around sort of 28k. Yep. So if we're looking at that, and that's not out of the realm of possibility. With added FOMO, we have $200. So again, that's not outside of the realm of possibility for Litecoin.
Okay.
So XRP, which I know you all hate, but anyway, I'm going to tell you all about it. So XRP's actually had a beautiful correction. So we're sort of floating along the top of this channel. So if we grab this one down, so we've got this channel, we've got a bull flag on top of the channel. It's going to explode very soon. So we've got another sign that I look for, the dwindling volume coming into the market, because, you know, people sort of give up, they sell off, they sell the bottom, then all of a sudden it turns around. So you know, so we get the panic sellers that are sort of like at the end of their wits and they've got no more patience, and they're like, I've had enough of this, I'm selling it. And then all of a sudden it turns around. So that's kind of what's happening at this point. And, you know, 50 sort of 3 is to 55 where we are now, 56 is a good entry point, and you should be able to sort of, we should do 100% from here on XRP. So in the next run.
Cool.
Yeah. So XRP has been moving really beautifully. So, and, you know, again, it's another one that had this really extended second wave correction, where we just continued forever and ever and ever. And so that means that this fourth wave here that we're in, and we've got support, as long as this support continues to hold, we're okay. And we shall continue on. So if we have a look at the RSI, we are again on support here on the RSI, and you know, it's looking really good. So this is a 4-hour chart. This is the daily chart. So the daily chart is looking really good. The MACD is looking like it's just about to turn up. And daily chart also has that dwindling amount of volume. So yeah, to me, looking really good.
Okay.
Another one that's been going a bit crazy this week is ZIL, and lots of people asking me about it. So we are in
Singaporean company.
Sorry?
Singaporean company.
Yeah. So we are in this corrective phase here. So we've hit targets nicely. We've been moving. So this was one that we had on hard forkers a couple of months ago. So we had it back in September. Whereas where I was recommending buy, if you sold at the target, you made 251% at that target. So, and that's kind of where it is now. Potentially from this run here, we have, if you were to buy in this region and continue up, we've got another 150% in this range.
And
it's
news?
not,
some of the people I'm meeting here tonight in Singapore are dying to talk about this particular blockchain. I'm not quite sure why. I haven't really followed it that closely. Has there been any major news out of these?
I've seen some little bits and pieces on Twitter. So it's going into the DeFi realm from what I understand.
Cool.
I haven't done a lot of research on it. I haven't had the time to be doing some research.
I know I'm going to be asked about it tonight, so it's good we're looking at the chart for it.
Yeah, the chart looks amazing. So, you know, obviously it's had this massive drop since the all-time high. So ZIL didn't do an all-time high until May 18. So it was one of those ones where, you know, it sort of dropped into the market, into the bear market, and it went up. And it's just slowly died ever since. And now we had this, again, the curl that I look for on these charts. So if we put the curve on it, we've got that curve. So which to me, that's just like a perfect movement.
Right. I'll do a bit of research into this blockchain fundamental.
Yeah. So any
for
chart,
our next show, see what I can find out. I know a few people associated with it.
Yeah, so any chart that I see this, and this is the reason Elrond E-Gold is such an amazing chart, it always does that pattern. So if we go to E-Gold, we can see that it's got this curve happening. So if you see that, that's the best way to trade any of these altcoins. Look for that, like if they're like completely flatlined and dead, don't touch them. But if they're, you know, they're going sideways for quite some time, but they're holding a curve, you really want to buy in at those bottoms and then just sit and have patience, because, you know, had you bought in November, like a month ago, you've made that 250%. So on ZIL, you could have bought in at this point, which, you know, I think we said September, which is what we had here. And that was 250% since September. So, you know, so what's that? So September, October, November, you know, 3 months.
Yep.
So, you know, 3 months to make that like percentage is insane. So, you know, it's worth waiting for. And I've had people, when I've posted the gains on this, going, I ran out of patience, you know, back in November. And that's kind of when it took off. So yeah, it's not something that you want to do. And that's the thing. Trading's, you know, a lot of the time a game of patience and just waiting for these patterns to sort of play out. But if you know, are buying into these patterns that are curling up, it's like, just sit there and be patient, because this one's going to continue going. And, you know, it's going to be a big explosion when it happens. Obviously, I should look into the fundamentals of this. I haven't. but I'm sure it's for it to be moving in this direction. It's hitting all its targets and all the sort of, points that they need to along the way.
I'm getting asked about it a lot. So as I say, I'll do a bit of, I'll make a few calls and see what I can find out. I do know some people associated with that project. So tune in for that Wednesday this week, people. Once again, apologies we're not live.
Yeah, so
I'll be on Wednesday. So have your questions ready.
So RSR looking really good. So this is one I put on Twitter. We've been trading this on hard forking since the bottom down here. So, we've come back down. So this point is a really good point to make 80%. And I think this is going to explode. So looking at all these altcoin charts as well makes me believe that Bitcoin's not going down either. So when we look at, the other patterns and where the RSI is and all of this on these charts, it's like, unless something major kind of happens in Bitcoin, these charts all, to me say that they're continuing up. So there's an 80% swing on RSR and it's looking really strong. And was there anything else that you wanted me to look at, Sean?
I think that's good for now, Lisa. We'll, as I just mentioned, we'll attempt to do these shows a bit more frequently for you. There's so much action in the market at the moment. So maybe we wrap that for today, and we'll be back here in a couple of days.
Yeah,
live.
So I think what I'll do is I'll put out a tweet, and people can let me know what they want me to look at, and I'll prepare some charts, and I'll get them up on the live show, and I can talk people through them. So
definitely.
Yeah.
What about BSV? I know your fans there won't be happy if we don't have a quick look at that.
Yeah, true. So BSV to me, I know like a lot of the BSV people get so caught up when I talk price, and I have no idea why that is. And it's like, it's a tradable asset. And it's like, I know most of them are hodling. I'm not a hodler, I'm a trader, and they give me so much stick. And it's like, well, I've got to pay my bills somehow, and 25% of my portfolio is BSV.
The BSV community dishing out stick? Never.
Yeah, so it doesn't do a lot, and it's probably my most lagging asset. So for 25% of my portfolio, because I believe in the long-term, viability of it, is really hard. But anyway, I've made good gains with everything else, so I'm not complaining. But so this is a 6-hour chart. BSV is holding on the 100 MA. We've got strong bull flag. We always get large rejections in BSV because everyone panic sells. Even the hodlers panic sell in BSV. So, and they tell me all the time I had to buy like higher up because it continued up. And it's like, guys, please. So, it's in a nice strong pattern here, and we've got a cross. We're looking really good to go up. So this is a 2-hour chart. We've crossed bullish on the MAs. We've got strong volume coming in a Nikkors indicator here, and we've got that lagging volume that's coming down, and we should continue up. So our next target here is 199. Target after that is 225. I think they are really, really possible. I think it's even possible to hit our upper target here of 275 on this next run if BTC goes to 28K. So I think that's what we're looking at. So, and that's, so 275 to the BTC, what's that? It's 100,000. I don't know, whatever. I have to work it out. But it's like, is that like a, hang on, if I multiply 275, how do I get 227,000? How many zeros do I need to add?
Don't ask me today.
3, 2, I don't know.
My brain's spinning.
By 100. I don't know. Anyway, so it's a good percentage. So it's kind of, it should catch up to that sort of, we've had that percentage disparity for a little bit, and I think it's going to start catching up. So, but yeah, BSV is, I'm going to continue talking price. I don't care what you say. It's a tradable asset. I trade it. There we go. Sorry.
Yes, I haven't spoken to that community for a while. Actually, I might have a look at some of the fundamentals there and what they're up to in the near future.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Listen, once again, apologies to the people that were waiting for the live stream.
We had lots of people waiting today, so thank you guys. It was exciting to see you all waiting, but Sean.
I think I've found the reason why it's technically difficult, but I will get that sorted for Wednesday. So as Lisa said,
You found the reason you're a tech tard?
Well, they clearly know that.
I can say all of this stuff. I don't think I could do any of that. So, as much as I'm saying this to Sean, it's like I'd probably be struggling as well. So.
I think I have 2 accounts. I've figured out what's going on, but we'll get that sorted. And as Lisa said, jump on Twitter and let us know what projects you'd like us to have a look at, and we look forward to seeing you all on Wednesday. Exciting times. I'm going to jump off this now, Lisa, and close my shorts.
Yes, I think you need to close that short because it's not looking like it's a short trade right now.
It can change at a moment's notice. We know that about trading. So I think, as we mentioned, we'll look to do maybe some shorter shows live on a more regular basis for you. So look, thanks for watching, everyone.
Yeah, especially over this bull run, over where everyone's got so many questions about where the market's going and how it's moving. And, we can have a look at how these indicators, how you can read the indicators so you know the direction. So you don't be like Sean and enter a short when you should be in a long.
No, I'm also going to be locked in a room for 2 weeks in quarantine very shortly. So I'll probably just go live the whole time. Good God, I'm not looking forward to that.
Oh, I'm not envious of you at all. Not at all. After being locked in a room for 7 months, yeah.
Well, locked in a house is a bit different to locked in a room.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's not even think about that one for now. But
it looks like your short could be okay, Sean. It's just dropped down under the support. So
sorry?
Looks like your short's okay for now.
Oh, good. What is the current price?
23,770 and dropping.
I still find it a strange feeling, going short on Bitcoin or Ethereum, Speaking
it is.
Telling everyone to buy it. I know the whole trading game's a very different mentality, but it's a much nicer feeling going long.
Definitely.
Yeah. Hey, listen, thanks very much once again, Lisa. And we'll see you back here in the next couple of days.
We will. Okay, guys.
And
don't forget to smash the like button.
Smash the likes. Set a reminder. Jump on Twitter. Tell us what you want to hear about. See you all soon. Cheers now.
Bye.